Hi lovelies, you're welcome to my channel. So I'm going to be drafting this beautiful asymmetric top with this stylish neckline. With me here, I have my own materials, so go ahead and determine your own measurement and let's get started. Now, I've gone ahead to fold my pattern paper by 2. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark a point at this top area here, and that will be my shoulder point. So from this point here, I will mark down to the full length of my top, which is 26 inches. You can go ahead and make yours more longer. Now, the next thing I will do is to rule a straight line on the shoulder line and on the full length line. Now, I'll go ahead to label them. So after doing that, I'm going to be taking my shoulder to my bust point, my shoulder to my under bust point, my shoulder to my front waist point. So after marking the points there, I'll go ahead to rule a straight line on those points I marked out. Now I will label this my bust line, my under bust line, then my waistline. The next thing I'm going to do is to take my shoulder measurement divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. I'll mark the points there and then I'll take 3 inches for the neck wideness. Now from this 8 inches point for my shoulder measurement, I'll come down by 1 inch to get my shoulder slope and then I'll connect it this way to my neck wideness of 3 inches. Now I'll go ahead and mark my armhole circumference divided by 2, which gives me 8.5 inches. I'll mark the point there and then I will connect it like this way, and I will also connect it again this way. So this particular line here will serve as my chest line. So I'll go ahead and label that my chest line. The next thing I'm going to do is to divide what I have for my armhole circumference by 2. After marking the point there, I will go in by half of an inch. I'll mark the point there and I will take my bust circumference divided by 4, which gives me 10 inches. I'll mark the point there and then I'll go ahead to connect the front armhole this way. So after doing that, from my chest line here, I'm going to come up by 1.5 inches. Now this is to cover up my cleavage. You can come up by 1 inch if you want yours to be that exposed a bit. Now go up by 1.5 inches. I will mark the point here and then I will label this line my upper chest line. The next thing I will do is to take my nipple to nipple point, which is 8 inches divided by 2 will give me 4 inches. I will start from my bust line and mark the 4 inches. I'll mark it on my under bust line, my waistline, and then my full length line. So after marking it, I'll go ahead and connect the points together with my ruler. And then on the dart leg on the full length line, I'll mark 1 inch beside the dart leg. Now this is my center front, this is my side front. I'll repeat the same thing on the waistline. I'll mark 1 inch beside the dart leg on the center front and the side front. I'll repeat the same thing on the under bust line as well. Now I'll go ahead and connect the 1 inch dart point. Now after doing that, from my bust line on the that leg, I'm going to come down by 1 inch and then I will go ahead to connect it this way. So after connecting it this way, I'm going to divide what I have left on my shoulder measurement. So what I have there is 5 inches divided by 2 give me 2.5 inches. I'll go ahead and connect it this way to the that leg that I have on my bust line. After doing that, the next thing I'll do is to take 1 inch beside on my upper chest line beside the dart leg there. I'll mark 1 inch on my center front and side front, then I'll go ahead to connect it this way. So after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is just to connect the side front armhole like so. So the side front armhole don't really need to be that deep, so I'll connect it this way. The next thing I'm going to do is from this my side front cup here at the upper chest line, I will go in by half of an inch or quarter of an inch. Then I will go ahead to use my pencil to connect it to the neck wideness. So I'm just using my pencil to connect it to have that shape that the the dress have. Now after using my pencil to connect it, I use my marker to outline it. Now from this my center front point here, I'll come up by 3 inches, and then I will use my pencil to try get that curve that this particular dress have. Now after getting the shape that I want, I'll go ahead use my marker to outline this. Okay, so go ahead, use your pencil to outline, to mark this first before using your marker to outline it. Now I've gone ahead to take my bust circumference already, so I'm going to replace the dart intake of 2 inches. Now on my waistline, I'll take my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll mark the point there, and then I'll replace the dart intake of 2 inches. On my full length line, I'll take my hip circumference divided by 4. I will take the dart in, I will mark it there, and I will take the dart intake of 2 inches. Now I will go ahead and connect the body point this way with my pencil. So after I'm done doing that, from the main body measurement below the bust line here, I'll go ahead and I will mark 1.5 inches. Now this 1.5 inches is for my dart intake, and that's the difference between my front length, my front half length to my back half length. Okay, I'll go ahead now and connect it this way. So I'm going to be closing up this place. Now the next thing I will do is to add my allowance of 1.5 inches on my chest line, bust line, under bust line, waistline, and then my full length line. And I will go ahead to connect the points this way with my marker. So after I'm done connecting this, I will just go ahead and label this my allowance, and then I will extend the dart side dart to the allowance area now. Now after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to come over to this point here. So to get that strap there, I'll just go ahead and just connect it this way using 1/2 inch as the wideness, okay, of the strap. Now the next thing I'll do is just to outline the allowance of this dress so it will be more visible. Okay, so whatever I did here on this pattern paper, I'm going to do it on the other side. So I'll go ahead to trace it, and I'll be right back. So after I was done tracing it on the other side of the pattern paper, I will open this up to get the asymmetric hemline. So I'm going to start working from one side of this dress. So from my actual body shape, I'll come down by 3.5 inches from my waistline. Then I'll go ahead to mark this point here using my pencil first. I'm going to be closing one side of the dart to actually get the asymmetric shape. Now I'll go ahead and connect this way with my pencil in a slanted method, meeting the other side of the dart. So I'm going to mark this to the other side of the dart on the full length line. So I'll go ahead and close this side dart of the other side, and then I will go ahead to connect it this way. Remember, I'm taking this in a slanted method to the full length line on the other side of the dart. So from this point here, still holding my dart in place, I will go ahead from my waistline on this other side. From my waistline, I will, on my actual body measurement, I will come down by 4.5 inches. Now remember, on the other side from this part here, I took 3.5 inches, but on this other side, I'm going to be taking 4.5 inches, and that is because of how the shape of the top is. Now I'll go ahead and blend this way in a curve method, meeting that 4.5 inches, and then I will just blend it into the allowance part this way. Now I'll go ahead, use my marker to outline this. So after I'm done using my marker to outline the asymmetric hemline, I'm going to fold this in place, but please, before cutting this, go ahead and close the side dart so that you are not going to have like shortage for the measurement. I forgot to do this before I cut out the side part. Now go ahead and close the side dart, then you can cut out the remaining front piece. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to explain here. Go ahead and cut this out from the bust line then you stop at this point here, then use your tape to cover up the side. So whatever I did here, I'm going to repeat on the other side of the dress, that is on the other side of that. So I'll go ahead to use my tape and tape this down. So after taping that, you can see that the measurement has adjusted a bit. That's the reason why I said, first of all, do this before you cut the side out, okay? So remember, you're going to close the other side that as well. Now after closing the two sides that, I'll go ahead to cut this out. So I'm cutting out the yoke first before I'll cut out the side front. So the next thing to do is to cut out the neck strap before cutting out the center front. So after cutting this out, I'll go ahead now to cut out the asymmetric hemline. That is the mark I have for the asymmetric shape. So I'm cutting out the two sides now. After doing that, this is what I have for my top here. And this is it for the yoke and also the neck strap. So the next thing I will do now is to go ahead and cut out the back piece. So now we don't need a zipper allowance to cut out the back piece, and I've gone ahead to fold this by 2. So now I'm going to mark a point here as my shoulder line. I will come down to 16.5 inches for my back waistline, and then I'm going to mark 26 inches for the full length line. Now I'm going to come up from that 26 inches by 1.5 inches. The 1.5 inches is the dart intake that I took at the front part while I was drafting it. Now this is because the length of the front and the length of the back is not the same thing when it comes to from the shoulder to the waist point. Now go ahead and measure yours to know the difference. Mine was 1.5 inches. Now I will go ahead and label this first line my shoulder line, the second line my back waistline, then the third line there my full length line. So I'm going to mark my bust point there also from my shoulder line, and then I will rule a straight line on that point. So after doing that, I'm going to take my shoulder measurement of 8 inches after I divided 16 inches by 2, and then I will take 3 inches for the neck wideness and then 1.5 inches for the neck depth. Now I'll go ahead and connect the neck area this way. So after doing that, on the 8 inches point on my shoulder line, I'll come down by 1 inch to get my shoulder slope, and then I will connect it back to my neck wideness. Now after doing that, I'll take my armhole circumference divided by 2, which gives me 8.5 inches. I'll mark the point there, and then I will connect it together, meeting the shoulder slope point. Now I will connect this way, and I will label this my chest line. After doing that, I will place my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 10 inches. I'll mark it here on my chest line, and then I will divide what I have on the armhole area. After dividing it by 2, I'll go ahead to connect the back armhole like so. After doing that, the next thing I'm going to do from my back waistline here, I'm going to go in by half of an inch, and this is just to give it that balanced shape at the back of this dress. So after marking the points there, I'll go ahead and connect it this way, as if I'm connecting like, when you're trying to avoid a zipper bulginess on your dress, okay? So I'm going to be cutting this off, and then I will take my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which gives me 4 inches. From this point here, I'll mark the 4 inches, and then I will connect it in a straight way, meeting the chest line and then the full length line. So after I'm done doing that, on the full length line, I will come up by 1.5 inches on the dart leg, and then at the back waistline, I'll mark half inch beside the dart leg, and then I will go ahead to connect it this way. So already took my bust circumference divided by 4 on my chest line. Then on my waistline, I'll take my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll mark the point there. And then I'll replace the dart intake of 1 inch. So total of what I have now on my waistline is 9.5 inches. Now on my full length line, I'll take my hip circumference divided by 4. I will mark the point there and there's no dart to be replaced there. Now the next thing I will do is to connect the body measurement points together. So after connecting the body measurements together, I will mark 1.5 inches for my allowance all around, and then I will connect the points together. And then I will label it my allowance. So after I was done doing that, I'm going to place my tape on my back waistline, then I will mark 2 inches inwards. Now this is for my lace placement, okay? Now I'll go ahead and mark 2 inches this way up to the chest line and then also on the full length line. Now remember I took the 2 inches point from this line here to still get that curve at the back, okay? Now I will go ahead and connect the points together. After doing that, I will come down from the neck depth by 2 inches, and that is for my button placement. Now I will go ahead and connect it this way to the actual dart leg that I have on my back pattern. So after I'm done doing this, I'm just going to give this like a little bit curve below the chest line here. Now this is totally optional, you can make yours straight, okay? Now the next thing I will do is to indicate where I'm going to be placing my eyelets on, and then I'll go ahead to cut the back piece. So after cutting the back piece this way, I'm going to be tracing whatever I did here on the other side. Remember, this is folded into two when I started drafting it, okay? So after I was done tracing the measurement on the other side, this is how it is. I will be cutting this side off to avoid gaping. I will do the same thing for the other side as well. Then I will go ahead to cut this out. So I'll go ahead to cut out this side as well. And then I will open this up, and I'm going to use my pencil to mark out the asymmetric shape for the back. So I went ahead to do this off camera, but I'm just going to place my um front piece to know if I got the same shape, okay, that I have at the front asymmetric hemline. Now after doing this, I'm going to remove the front pattern paper, and then I will go ahead to use my marker to outline this. So I'm just going to show you how I did this. From my main body point on the waistline, I came down by 3.5 inches, and then I used my pencil to connect it this way, meeting the eyelet part at the middle of the back. Now from this point here, I came up by 2 inches. From this point here, I came up by 2 inches from the full length. Okay, now I mark the point there. That is where I connected the asymmetric hemline to. And then from this other back piece here, I came up from the full length line by 1.5 inches. So I connected it to the dart leg this way. Now from the waistline on the other back piece, I'm going to come down by 4.5 inches on my body measurement, and then I'll go ahead to connect it this way in a curve method, meeting the dart leg. And this is all for the back asymmetric hemline. Also, I'll connect it to the allowance area this way, and this is all for the back asymmetric hemline. I'll go ahead to cut this out this way. So after I'm done cutting this, I'll go ahead to label my yoke, and then I'm going to split it into two. Now the next thing I will do is to cut out the dart of the back piece. And then I will be indicating the right side facing each other with my arrow mark. And this is all for the asymmetric bustier stylish neckline top. I will see you in my next video. Please do not forget to subscribe, comment, share and like, and thanks for watching.